Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. We have a question today that came in customer service from Dean Levine. And Dean says, "Hi Don, Dean Levine from Las Vegas here. For the last 10 to 12 years, I've been suffering from right arm tennis elbow. I'm wondering if there is something I'm doing wrong in the swing that keeps aggravating this condition. Thanks, Dean." Okay, let's just start off by looking at it from the standpoint that you've had it for at least 10 or 12 years, which means obviously it sounds like it comes and goes, but the key might be is it seems really activate when you're playing golf, so that's a good place to start looking at it, that maybe there's something wrong with my swing. But before we even might go there and talk about issues in the swing that can cause it, the first thing I'd say is I'd recommend that you get to a doctor and get it checked out. Could be arthritis coming in, and it's just slowly getting worse as we get older, as we know those things tend to happen. It could be that maybe you have a slight tear or some other issues in there that can calm down if you don't, in between you playing golf, and then come back once you started playing. And so x-rays or whatever might reveal that there's something that needs taken care of. So I think you got to start with the medical part and get that out of the way. Like years ago, I have a left thumb that pretty much hurts me all the time. I thought it was basically from driving, the way I hold the steering wheel and everything else, because I drive so much in going to lessons in golf schools and all those other things. And finally, I went to the doctor, took x-rays. I have no cartilage in that thumb. So I had one of two options. I can either get steroid shots, and I said no thanks to that. And then the other one was them to go in and take a ligament somewhere from my arm, put it in there and get it to heal. And that's about a 3, maybe even a 4-month off recovery from that. So, I mean, the only thing that would do is stop me from practicing and playing for a while and being able to swing doing these dailies. But I could have lived with that. But I said, no, I'll put it off. I don't need it right now. So I kind of live with it. I have good days where it hardly doesn't hurt at all, and other days it hurts quite a bit. But most of the time, I just move my thumb a little bit more over to the right. And we know that in a grip, we want the thumb not on the top, but over about 1 o'clock. I just make sure it stays over there about 1 or a little farther. And so it reduces any chance of the shaft putting stress on it, especially in a transition. When we transition and we're holding our angle up there, that'll put stress on the thumb. Well, over to the side, it really puts it in a place where the thumb and the wrist over here gets almost no pressure at all. And so that helps me. So I went and got it checked out. I know I got an issue. So that's the first place I'd start. The second thing I would suggest is that naturally, as you know, we're the swing that we teach to swing up to the tee finish, and we want to nip the ball off the ground. We want to kind of like just pinch it, almost pick it clean, sort of like a touch and go of an airplane. The club should be hitting the ground and kind of bouncing off the ground, not hitting down on the ball. As you know, you've been through enough with me. You know that I believe hitting down is one of the worst sins of golf. One of the worst things you can do, because if we're hitting down, we're putting all energy to the ground, which can affect a smooth transition through the ball and up to swing up to our tee finish, and get to a good balanced finish, which will give you the best results of a good shot. Because remember, the whole key is mostly the forward upswing. You hit the ball with this side of the swing, so it's important to really make sure that everything keeps flowing, accelerating to impact, and flows to a good dynamically balanced finish. And so we want shallow divots. Just nip the ball off the ground, tear the grass out of the ground. Great ball striker Mo Norman once said, take bacon strips, not pork chops. So we want to swing up so our arms come in like this and are extended at impact. But if you're hitting down on it, you're driving the club in the ground. There's a great amount of impact there, which can send up a lot of stress and strain up through your wrists, your fingers, your wrists, your elbows, all the way up into your shoulders and back into your neck and down into your hips. And so hitting down is really bad, especially if you're playing golf in places where the ground gets quite hard. Where like here in the Carolinas and Georgia, we get a lot of Georgia red clay here, and in the summertime, clay is like hitting off a brick. So you don't want to be digging in that. You get down to Florida where it's a lot of sandy soil, but when it's dry, that gets pretty hard. So you want to give your body a good break with hitting the golf ball, and the best hit is that club just nipped it because it accelerates through. But one of the things that happens to me a lot is that, hey, I'm 63 now. I get some aches and pains. I have one of these in my bag. It's a wristband, elbow band, okay? I have an issue. I've had this thing for 30 years. I could stand here and hit 100 balls, 300 balls, no problems. Nothing will hurt me with my elbow or my wrist. The only one that acts up the one that acts up more now is my left wrist because of this lack of cards here. I've already talked about the thumb and the wrist. But historically, since the 70s, I cannot hit a lot of drivers. So I guess I've been really blessed by being an extremely good driver of the ball that I don't have to practice that much. Because normally I could stand here and hit 100 3-woods and not have one issue. No pain, no stress, anything in my elbow. I'm talking about my left elbow here. I know you're talking about your right elbow, which again really makes me believe that you're probably hitting down. Hitting down on the ball too much with the right hand, where you're hitting down rather than the right hand helping you to swing up to pull the club up into the finish where you get that nip. But as I said, I could hit 100 drivers, 100 3-woods in a row off a tee, ripping them just like I'd hit a driver. Nothing. If I hit more than about 15 drivers in a row at a pretty good clip, I start getting a pain. Sometimes it's out there, sometimes it's in here. It moves around. So when my elbow's starting to bother me, I get one of these wristbands. Now this is like a neoprene one or something, and I've had this thing for 25 years. I got this back in my Harbortown days when I was director of instruction there, and at the tournament, I went in back then. That's when they started the medical trailers out there for the pros to go in and get to work out and get stretched and things like that. And if they got some injuries, to go get taken care of. And at tournaments, every tournament now, they have trainers in there. Usually every site has some local chiropractors that come in there, and they gave me this one. This is neoprene, and I remember the one thing they said about why these are better. I think neoprene's the right word. It's kind of very rubbery and elasticy. Is that it holds your body heat in, and that helps keep the muscle a lot more relaxed and everything else. So I put those on, and I find it right below I'll put it right just below the elbow here, and now that's holding all the muscles more intact, so they got less chance of slipping and sliding and moving around, which could cause more stress and strain and possibly having them, one get torn or whatever. So I put that on, and I'll play with that now and then. It's very light, doesn't hurt. Lately like I said, I'm having problems with my wrist, with my left wrist because of that thumb. I'll just take it and put it on and slide it all the way down here. Naturally, I don't play with a watch on. I'll just put it on here, wrap it around, make sure that this strap is in a place where it doesn't bother me, and just that extra firmness really holds all the muscle groups very, very firm and intact, and really reduces the chance of overworking and stressing out that muscle and giving me pain. So I think we got some things here. These things work, but it's simple. I'd get your body checked out first, meaning your elbows. I'd think about evaluating your swing. Are you hitting down on it? And then ultimately, if there's really no big problem with it, other than the fact that at some point, some way, you're straining it and stressing it out when you're playing, you need to adjust that in your swing. And I think the number one problem there would likely be hitting down too much on the ball and taking too deep and divots where you're getting that big shock impact and coming up through the club head into the shaft and the grip all the way up in your fingers, hands, and arms. That can be causing it. And then ultimately, I think getting one of these armbands, wristbands that can be used for both, would be the ultimate thing to provide that extra insurance and safety level of keeping everything firmer and tighter together, and reducing any chance of getting twists and tears that can happen to your muscles, your tendons, or your ligaments. Okay? But ultimately, go see your doctor first and start there. I think, and if you've already done that, then cover the things that we just talked about with the swing, the impacts, and getting one of these, because they can really help. Okay? So hopefully this helps you and anybody else, because I know as we grow older, we have these issues. And I mean, I've had young players, junior golfers that get into these wrist problems and everything else, and elbows, and so it's there. It's a fact of life. But the key is A, find out A, are you injured, and B, if you are injured, you gotta get it fixed, and then C, if you're not injured, then what you can do to help protect yourself in terms of your swing, to make a swing that gives you less stress and strain and ground collision with your body, and then reinforcing your body with something like these armbands. Okay, so that's it for the search for today. I'm trying to help ourselves, if we are hurting, get healthy and find out what it is, get healthy and stay healthy, and hopefully protect ourselves from getting any injuries. Okay, that's it for the search today, and I'll be talking to you all again soon.